Hey guys, so back when I worked at Amazon in the vendor management team, there were a couple things that I learned in terms of how to grow an Amazon vendor business, and that's what I'm going over in this video today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Benjamin. I used to work at Amazon in the vendor management team. I was there for around 3 years, and now I coach Amazon vendors on growing their vendor business. And so the thing that most vendors don't understand, at least those that have not worked at Amazon, do not have that inside perspective, is really how Amazon works, how Amazon is structured, particularly the retail team. So the thing to understand is when you advertise your products on Amazon, that money is not going to your vendor manager. The vendor management team and then the advertising team, for instance, are two separate entities with two separate P&Ls. So when your vendor manager asks for funding, that's going into their pocket. When you're advertising, that money is not going into their pocket. It's going to the advertising P&L. And so your vendor manager is not always incentivized, to get you spending money on ads. Instead, they'd rather that money for promotional funding, promotional support. So that's something it's really important to understand because you have to be aware of kind of each stakeholder's intentions. You have to be aware of what your vendor manager is trying to accomplish when they ask for money. And that's not to paint the vendor manager in a bad light. There are instances where you do want to spend with your VM. For instance, Prime Day, promotions like Black Friday, Boxing Day. It's a great idea to follow the lead of your VM and to invest in promotions. However, there are other promotions like, Spring Sale or these Tier 2, Tier 3 promotions, which, Cleaning Week, doesn't necessarily make sense to invest a whole heap of money, and you'd be better placed to spend that money advertising. So that's the first thing. And then that takes me to my next point, which is advertising. The thing is, running advertising campaigns as a vendor is completely different to running them as a seller, and your strategy should reflect those differences. When you're a vendor, you really need to be mindful about how you launch products and how your advertising campaign, your advertising strategy feeds into that. Otherwise, you're just going to be burning money left, right, and center. And that's what a lot of agencies do. They're incentivized to get you spending more money with ads to justify their monthly retainer. And so they're going to paint a picture where, they want you to spend more money on ads. Otherwise, they don't have a job. So again, you have to be aware of that. And you have to be aware that unless your agency deals exclusively with vendors, they deal with sellers and vendors, then they don't really, that distinction isn't as evident between the two. Because the thing is, when you sell to Amazon as a vendor, you're effectively competing against all other sellers on the platform, right? Either a vendor or a seller can win the buy box at any given moment. So they're competitions. It's a competition, and so you want to be mindful of that when you're advertising. The other thing is, not enough vendors have an emphasis on operations, on how they pick, pack their products, and really the time it takes for you to ship a product from your DC to Amazon's fulfillment center. See, if you're not tracking that, then if your product goes out of stock, right, those are sales that you lose. And so you really want to be tracking the operations side, how long it takes for you to ship a product from your DC to Amazon's fulfillment center. For example, many of the vendors that I work with have a lead time of 5 to 10 days max. And so, when you have promotional periods and your products are selling well, the smaller that delivery window is, the shorter time it takes for you to get the product to Amazon's fulfillment center, the quicker that you can respond to out of stocks, the quicker you can sell your products, and the better your account will perform. See, Amazon, they're not really like any other retailer in the sense that when you go out of stock on Amazon, it's not good. Like the algorithm does not reward products that are out of stock, right? You want to be in stock at all times. When you go out of stock at your local Walmart, not a big deal. When you go out of stock on Amazon, all of a sudden you're not ranked in the first page. You're ranked in the third, fourth, And so the next month, you're just trying to make room. You're trying to regain some of that lost momentum. So yeah, never go out of stock. And so yeah, hopefully that kind of helps. Those are some key points that I learned when I was working at Amazon. That again, not many vendors are aware of the detailed kind of process in those things. And this is what I work with now with the vendors that I support through coaching. I kind of go into this in a lot more detail, and I provide them the perspective of someone who actually used to work at Amazon, who is aware of when Amazon are going to rip you off, when they want your money, and when you shouldn't be giving them your money. And there are many instances of that happening where Amazon they have their targets and they will like stop at nothing until they hit those targets. So as a vendor, you have to defend your territory, and you have to really be aware of when they're kind of grabbing your cash, so to speak. So yeah, let me know if that's something you'd find helpful. You can book in a call at the bottom over there. If you found this helpful, because if you did, you're gonna love the call, that's for sure. But have a good day. Bye.